Please turn to page 232 for Stage 7, 2-paragraph opinion writing about informational text. On page 232, we have our chant that we introduce our lesson to our students. I, the writer, will give my opinion about the text, and then I will call in the team to back me up. On page 233 is the SO team, the summary, the opinion, the transition, evidence, analyze the evidence, and make it matter. For all the elements necessary to write an opinion, and in this case, about a text. When your students are filling this out, they could fill out that black line master or just write SO team on the side of a paper, and they can have that as their organizer. On page 234 and 235, you will see that we have our checklist for a 2-paragraph opinion about a text, the sample organizer for the 2-paragraph opinion about a narrative text, as well as the published copy of writing. This was completed in our previous video. On the facing page is the organizer, as well as the published copy of writing for an opinion about informational text. This video is specifically about Stage 7, 2-paragraph opinions about informational text. That lesson begins on page 246. Throughout the entire process of this video, I will put in all the chants and motions that we use that engage them in the lesson, as well as walk them through the metacognitive steps of thinking they need to use in order to complete all the elements of an opinion, and in this case, for informational text. I will also display, and notice on the bottom of this page, you will see the first, different helper charts that will help us walk through each one of these elements in our opinion about informational text. Here's our organizer. We're going to fill in the summary. We're having an opinion about an article written by Judy Alaruza, who is a co-host of Garden Time, which is a #1 gardening show on TV. She wrote an article entitled Prescription for a Healthy Home. After we read and understood the article, you need to know what you've read before you can have an opinion. This lesson, I'm going to pull them up to a higher level of thinking, where we're going to evaluate the article and we're going to have an opinion about it. Boys and girls, our lesson today, after we have read this article called Prescription for a Healthy Home, is to have an opinion about it. What do I need before I even tell you my opinion? A quick summary. I need to be polite, because eventually I'll be writing this out, and if somebody picks it up and reads my opinion, how do they know that I'm talking about this article? I have to tell my reader who the author is, what the title of the article is, and what it basically was about, a quick summary. Let's use our summary for information sheet. Down below it says, tell us the author's full name, Judy Alaruza. We write down Judy Alaruza. Notice I'm not writing this out in sentence form. I'm just putting on the organizer key information I need, so it's fast and quick. These are my ideas and notes I need. I decided that I was going to put in parentheses that she's a co-host of Garden Time, a #1 show. I'm just going to do that because I may want to mention that to give her some credibility. Then the title. We always capitalize the first word and all the important words in a title. Prescription for a Healthy Home. Prescription was the first word and an important word, so we capitalized it. For and a are not important, so we didn't capitalize it. Healthy home, those are important words. We capitalize them. Is this text that stands on its own? Is it a book? Or is it a short piece of text? It's an article and it's part of a magazine. It's something small. It needs a hug. I'm going to put quotation marks around it. We have all our information that I need for my author and my title. Next, I need to give you the gist of what this article was about. When we have information, what does information do? Information is going to inform us or tell us. It's going to explain. Information may describe. The author may be persuading us about a subject. Those words will help me get to the gist of the article. Judy Alaruza wrote the short article, A Prescription for a Healthy Home, to, and I think I'm going to say to tell the reader. And then I'm going to go here to my last line, and that is my subject and my big idea. Or what am I telling about? Plants, and what about plants? In the workplace. I could draw a plant and then I could just put workplace. We have our simple summary, all the elements that our helper sheet is telling us that we need to have in place. Judy Alaruza, the co-host of a #1 garden show, wrote the short article, A Prescription for a Healthy Home, to tell her readers about plants in the workplace. Look how that to tell helps pull in that whole summary. Next, I'm going to give my opinion. I've read this article and I have an opinion about this article. I'm going to tell you what I think or feel about plants in the workplace. In my opinion box, say who or what my opinion is about. Plants. And then, what is my opinion? What do I think or feel about plants after reading this article? I think that plants can transform an unhealthy workplace into a healthy environment. Wow. All right, I'm going to draw a plant and then I'm going to put an arrow here with a happy face and put the workplace there. I'm just writing my keywords down. I'm not saying the sentence yet. This is my idea. I think that plants can make a workplace healthy and a great environment. I'm talking about the idea and I record it. Maybe I want to record how I'm going to begin that opinion. So I can go to my Start Opinion helper sheet and choose one of my starters. And I chose I am convinced. Boys and girls, I'm going to read my opinion so far. Judy Alaruza, the co-host of a #1 garden show, wrote a short article entitled Prescription for a Healthy Home that tells her readers about plants in the workplace. After reading her information, so look at that. I said information because redundant police. I don't want to keep saying article. Good writers don't keep using the same words over and over again, or the redundant police will come and arrest me. So I'm going to say in the information, meaning in her article. Okay, let me go back and say it again. Judy Alaruzo, the co-host of a #1 garden show, wrote a short article entitled Prescription for a Healthy Home to tell her readers about plants in the workplace. After reading her information, I am convinced that plants will transform an unhealthy environment into a wonderful workplace. Into a wonderful environment. I can't keep using environment or place. Setting. Okay, let's go back. After reading her article, I am convinced that plants can transform an unhealthy environment into a productive setting, into a productive, healthy setting. There's my opinion, boys and girls. I'm convinced that plants will transform this environment. Back it up, back it up, back up your opinion. You need to give us evidence to back up that plants can transform an environment. Oh, okay. Well, I need to call in the team to back me up. Let's turn to page 248 to back up our opinion. With our team, you need to go into the text and read your evidence. Then you can form your transition and your evidence at the same time. We read how NASA proved through their research how plants were able to pull bad gases and make a workplace into a healthy environment. We read that part of our article. What are we going to do? We're calling in the team to back us up. Before I tell you my evidence, what do I need? I need a transition to get to that first piece of evidence. Let's look at our helper sheet. I have 2 boxes on it. This first box is for the first team, my first team that I'm going to use to back up my opinion. Now, we're only using one team, so at this point, we're only going to use this top box. But later on, we'll have more than one team, so we would use this bottom box for the second, third, fourth team that we use to back up our opinions. So let's go to the top box. I have different phrases here to transition to our evidence. And I chose one compelling reason. So I took one of my transitions here and I wrote it up. Then, what type of evidence did I find to back up my opinion? So your evidence could be facts, data, statistics, an anecdote, an example, a quote, or specific research. You would use one of these words to identify the type of evidence to back up our opinion. And why are we using these as our descriptors? Because when an author writes informational paper, this is the type of information that you will see in their text. One compelling reason that backs up my opinion, and what is it? It was the research conducted by NASA. And in that research, they had some statistics, they had some examples. I could say statistics, I could say research. Many of these overlap. One compelling reason for my opinion is the research conducted by NASA. So I wrote down my phrase and I wrote down just a couple of keywords to say the type of evidence that I'm going to use, and I'm using research. Let's go back and read our paper so far. Judy Alaruza, a co-host of a #1 garden show, wrote a short article entitled Prescription for a Healthy Home to tell her readers about plants in the workplace. After reading her information, I'm convinced that plants can transform any work setting. One compelling reason for my opinion is research conducted by NASA. I've transitioned into my team, and now what am I doing? I'm backing it up, I'm backing it up, I'm backing up my opinion with evidence from the text. We've already read our passage, we've made our transition. Next, we're going to paraphrase or have a direct quote. It was a whole paragraph. If it's 1 or 2 short sentences, what do? Direct quote. This was a paragraph that we read. So what do I need to do? Paraphrase. In my evidence box, I'm going to put 2 lines. Subject, light bulb. That will be my strategy to back up my opinion. Subject, who or what in this paragraph is backing up your opinion? Plants. What idea about plants backs up your opinion? Take in bad gases and clean the air. Can you expand on that? Is there any more information? Yes, it happens every 24 hours. The air can be cleaned through these plants. Wow. Notice below I have my helper sheet. Every part of my O team I have transitions that you can refer to. I may go over here to my E, my evidence, and say, okay, I have 2 E's. One is if it's a paraphrase, one if it's a direct quote. I'm paraphrasing up here, so I could use one of my starter words or phrases in order to begin my paraphrase, my evidence. The author explains in her article, so there was my transition, plants can take unhealthy gases out of an environment and produce clean air every 24 hours. Excellent, there's my evidence, everybody. Then I have the kids put their hands on their hips and they go, shh. What does that mean? How does your evidence back up your opinion? Now I have to explain how that backs up my opinion that it will make a healthy environment. Let's go to our next page to look at that analysis. We have our evidence here and the kids go, shh, what does that mean? How does the plants taking in the air and cleaning it every 24 hours, how does that back up your opinion that it will transform a work environment? Explain your evidence. Oh, okay. When I explain my evidence, I'm either going to explain it by telling why this evidence backs up my opinion or how it backs up my opinion. I have my little starter sentences or frames that I can use to help guide me in my thinking. When I analyze this evidence, I'm going to explain why it is going to transform a work environment. I'm going to use the if then. So I put if with a line, comma, then with a line, and then I'm going to put keywords or drawings there. And I'm just talking to the kids. I don't need to form the sentence yet. What's the if situation? If plants are removing all of these pollutants, these gases, all right, so that's the if, then what happens? Then people are going to be healthy. And that means they're going to work more. They're going to be more productive. And the environment is going to be pretty and smell good and look nice. All right, I'm just going to put those ideas there. I can form it into a sentence when I'm done. If plants remove pollutants, then people will be healthy, more productive, and work more, which will create a beautiful environment that smells good and looks good. I have my analysis here. I explained, and I had my helper boxes to help guide me in that thinking. I reread all this information. And once I finish doing that, the last thing my kids do is they go, make it matter, make it matter. So let's go to our next page and let's look at make it matter. Make it matter is the whole purpose for analysis. I'm reading this article, I'm evaluating the article by having an opinion. I think that plants could transform unhealthy environments. I think that this is something that we should have in our work environments so that they're healthy places. Then I go and I have to call in the team to back that up. So I gave my evidence. I explained why that evidence backs up my opinion. But now, how can I make this matter? How can I use this analysis? The whole purpose here is to finally get to the point where, why does this matter? How can I use it? I'll guide students to 3 different places we could go to make it matter. One is people. You could look at yourself, Or you could just talk about people, society in general. How is this going to change what I do or what we do as a society? How could we benefit from this information? What could we do differently now? I'm going to use this information, make it matter, by looking at changing a behavior. I could make it matter by discussing an emotion, how this causes people or myself to have some sort of an emotional reaction. Or I could make it matter by having a new idea, by representing a new way of thinking. This makes me think differently. Here's a new idea I have. We looked at the 3 ways that we could make this information matter, and we decided that we were going to make it matter by giving us a new idea. Notice down, new ideas, I have these different phrases. Definitely a different point of view can. So a new idea could talk about a different point of view, how information we've read presented a different point of view about something that we never even realized. Or maybe it was about a new idea is a discovery. Or so often a discovery what will a discovery do? Bring it back to the real world. What do discoveries do? Or undoubtedly, when people change their minds, so maybe I'm bringing this new idea to point out that, oh, this information I presented could change your mind about something in the world, give you a new perspective, a new idea. We used our phrase about a discovery, and we had often discoveries. What did this discovery do? I could say to improve the workplace, but let's take it even further to the world. If we've learned this about the workplace, it's a discovery, but also we could say that anybody could use it anywhere about plants. So what are these plants going to do? They can improve people's lives and everyone's life in the world. Make it matter by going back to how this information can improve people's lives and our world. That discovery, to make it matter, is letting everyone know, wow, this can improve my life, it can improve the world. This is great. So we wrote that information down. At this point, we have our SO team filled in. We have our summary and our opinion, and then we called in the team to back up our opinion with a transition, evidence, analyze the evidence, and then finally, making it matter. Why does this evidence matter? On page 152, we have our completed organizer. The S and the O will be paragraph number 1. The team will be your paragraph number 2. The students are orally rehearsing their information over and over again, the way they're going to write it. Once it sounds sophisticated, it makes sense, and all the sentences flow together, then go write it out. And as they write, they need to keep talking. Notice I have my 2 paragraphs here, my summary here, then I have my opinion in paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, I have my transition. Next, I'm going to have my evidence. The author explained how this government agency discovered that plants removed 80% of bad indoor gases and replaced them with clean air. There was my evidence. Did I mention that this occurs every 24 hours? Ooh, I continued with my evidence. I expanded on that. Instead of making it into one sentence, I'm adding a little more. And then I'm going to not only expand, I'm going to react. That's amazing. So that's a nice way to add that voice into your writing. Expand and react to your evidence. Next, I'm going to go into my analysis. Let's think about the benefits. So I'm transitioning into my analysis. If plants remove the pollutants, then people will be healthier and more productive. There was my analysis. And finally, I need my M for make it matter. Isn't it incredible how often discoveries can improve people's lives and our world? And then also in make it matter, we're going to end it with a little bit of voice. Now bring on the plants. Not only do we have this finished piece of writing here, but you can have students go back, identify paragraph 1 and 2 to make sure they paragraphed, and then put their SO team, mark their paper so that they show that they have all the elements necessary for their stage 7 2-paragraph opinion, and in this case, about informational text. We just completed our video to write an opinion about informational text at the stage 7 level. In the next video, we will still be at stage 7, but the opinion will be about a topic, not a specific text, but about a topic.